Hi, in this video I'm going to look at a game that was posted on Reddit by a user there, and let's see his post. It was by Cubes and Pie. In this recent game I played, I felt that I had a strong edge out of the opening. However, I was unable to create any winning plans out of the middle game and found myself trading down to a draw. What type of plan could have given me better odds here? Well, let's have a look. Hopefully I can give you some ideas. So our hero, Cubes and Pi, had the black pieces. So we'll look at it from his perspective. And his opponent opened with e4, and he played the French defense, just like I do. d5, and now the dreaded exchange variation, e takes d5. So good news and bad news. The good news is black doesn't have much to worry about. The bad news is you're not likely to blow your opponent off the board, but I mean with black you have to start out. You have to equalize first, and then you can outplay your opponent. Okay, knight f3. And there are many ways to play. I like to play with knight here, put the bishop here. This knight usually goes here, and the other bishop g4 f5, most likely f5, queen to d7, and sometimes I castle queenside, depending on what my opponent does. But Cubes and Pie goes for knight f6. So we have quite a symmetrical line here. Bishop e2. A rather passive move. Why not? Bishop to d3 and bishop to d6 by black. So already, I mean, it's very small. We have a symmetrical position, but black has placed this bishop a bit more actively than white. And that's why even the computer says minus 0.1. It's not much, but something to just try to build up small advantages. So bishop g5, bishop g4 by black, copying. I'm not sure I like it. Just castle and get on with it. But okay, bishop g4. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's more or less, of course, an equal position. Castles by both sides. Now knight to c3 by white. Again, not very logical. It's more useful to, have this pawn free to move either to c3 or c4. Okay, white is hitting this pawn, but this is easily fixed with c6, which Cubes and Pie does. And now knight e5 by white. Initiating some trades. Black goes for it. It might be an option to keep this bishop, as this one isn't really super useful. But okay. You took on e2, queen takes, and rook e8. And now we have this pin against the knight. White fortifies the e file. And now bishop e7. The question here is why retreat? Why not just get on with development? Knight to b to d7. Seems fine. You might have been worried about something, but okay, knight b d7. The thing is, let's what's a good color for the variation? So this one. So if you go here and he takes, you take the queen. So there's really nothing to worry about. And even taking here, you just take. Game on. I think black is even maybe more than slightly better. You connected your rooks. You can maybe play queen b6, hitting this, hitting this. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This knight doesn't have any prospects. It's not well placed. But okay, you decide to retreat your bishop to e7. Now queen f3, getting out of the pin. Now knight b7. Okay, of course, as can happen in the exchange variation. This can get rather dull, especially if white just lines up on the e file and trades everything down. But rook e3, now you take on e5. This is a good move. Now if he takes with a pawn, which he didn't do, we have sort of this imbalance already. You take here. It kind of has to take. And you can take with the queen or the rook. I would probably take with the queen. Doesn't really matter. Now you have knight c5. You can have pressure on this. Maybe you take with the rook and put the queen here. Pressure this. So I think this is an imbalance that is good for black. And once again, this knight, it doesn't have any squares. This wasn't a good move. Okay, but he takes with the rook. He wants to, in general, trade pieces, it seems. You go knight d7. He goes on with his plan. You have this mass trades here. And now a3. He must have been worried about you coming over here, hitting this and hitting this, which white can't defend. So, okay, a3, not too bad. Rook e8, logical move, threatening checkmate in 2 moves. King f1 prevents it. And now you improve your knight to f6. Yeah, maybe you could have gone to b6, eyeing this square. And if he plays b3, he's loosening up his position a little bit. But he went knight f6, which looks fine. But now queen e2, and you say what appears to be a plan by white to improve the knight's position. But fortunately, I was able to find that it was not sound. Well, if you wanted to improve the knight, then I don't know. I think you just want to trade down. That's my general assessment here. He just wanted to trade pieces. Seems like White didn't have any great plans or ideas in this game. He just took on d5 and then traded everything on the first opportunity. I'm guessing you had you had slightly higher rating, so he was just playing for a draw. No big idea with improving the knight. Queen d6. Okay, nice move. Hitting the pawn and attacking the queen. So here you win a pawn. He has to move the queen f3, and you win your pawn. Bonus with a checkmate. So he plays g3. Here you say, at this point I spent a really long time considering knight g4. However, after queen g2, I was left unsure if the knight g4 move had any real value. Well, why not? It's moving closer to the king. So let's see, knight g4, queen g2, and now you go back, queen h5. And it's already very unpleasant for white. You're up opponent, you have an attack. You have these ideas of just giving a check, putting the knight on f3. The knight is well placed. It supports your actions. You can swing your queen over here. If you place knight e2, your queen is eyeing the knight. Yeah, it's just horrible for white. Just lost. So you should have played knight g4. That would have been a good move. But he played knight e4, and he took with the knight. And here you say, here I was really unsure how to take back. I was very worried about back rank threats. Why? That's such a typical phantom, phantom threat, phantom thinking. You're worried about things, find concrete things. If you take with the rook, which you didn't do, you took with a pawn. If you take with a rook, where's the worry on the back rank? He can't do anything. Rook e1, check, you win the rook. Queen f5, moving the queen, checkmate one. He can't move anything. He can't even threaten checkmate in one here. He can't threaten the back rank. So you're worried about a thing that kind of maybe can happen, but most likely won't. This is very typical thinking that you have to get rid of. Worry about things. Find okay. It's good that you're aware of the back rank. If he can put something there, it's a problem. But he can't do it. How can he do it? And even if he can, you give him 2 moves. Okay, first he has to take care of the back rank and then threaten something, but then you just play h6, Luft, and everything's okay. And he has to deal with this threat, and he can't really move anything. So definitely rook takes e4. We take with a pawn. I mean, nothing hugely wrong with that. I like rook takes e4 much better. But okay, he plays cleverly here, rook e1. Of course, pin here, so back rank issues, and you play f5. In general, I would try to, okay, you can give a check here and bring your queen back, which I would like more, and then play something like h6 and give your king Luft. But you play f5. Okay, this does protect the pawn, and he can't take again because of the back rank mate. But you are exposing your king on this diagonal, which is always a little bit worrying. queen takes f5, and rook f8. So now all of a sudden your king is much more of a problem than it was before. Queen e6 check, good move, he has to play it, otherwise it's just mate, and king h8. And here remarkably he's escaping. He plays king e2, this is the only move, and he plays queen takes f2. It's actually an amazing line if you take with the rook, which looks very natural. Okay, if you go king here, then black is actually just close to getting mate here. Actually, it's just mate in a few moves. But if he goes to d1, he's escaping. Rook check. It looks like you're taking everything, but the queen is covering this, and now the king is the problem. Now you have to take care of the back rank, but once you do, it's going to be a perpetual on a circuit like this, probably. So yeah, queen takes f2, only move, what you found. Well done. King d1, queen takes d4 check, and king c1. And here you trade it down. You debated between queen d5 and queen f2, you say, but after queen takes e4, queen takes g3, you felt that there may have been issues with my 7th and back rank. Let's have a look. If queen f2, queen takes e4, queen takes g3, you say. You felt like there might have been issues, but again, what are the issues? Okay, if you can magically move his queen to f7, maybe there are issues, but even then the rook is hanging, so what to do? I mean, let's make a threat. Queen f4 check. You have two connected passed pawns. Push him, baby. Oh, baby. This is better for black. But okay, queen d5 is probably also quite okay. It makes things a little bit more difficult because you go to a rook endgame where you're only a pawn up, and uh, you have the option of, well, not you, you have the potential to get quite passive if you do like you did in the game, just attack the pawn with the rook here. Passive rooks. We have to avoid passive rooks in rook endgames. So this happened, and now you played h6. And here, okay, now we're in hand game, and you two stuck in middle game thinking. In middle game, you play h6, you make luft. But now, these pawns have to be pushed at some point. This is where you have passed pawns. Push him, baby. Baby. Have to push him, so why not h5? I like h5 here. And the idea is now if he goes for rook e7, you don't get passive with rook b8. Avoid passivity. You get active with rook f3. You already pushed the pawn. It's stopping this pawn. You're just going to take this and push your passed pawns as fast as you can. You're going to be ahead of him if he takes here. You're going to win the race. So h5 is my preferred move here. Okay, if he attacks the pawn, just g6. Again, if he goes rook e7, you go rook f3. Even though your king is stuck at the moment. You got two connected passed pawns. You're much further advanced. He has to spend a lot of time to, create the pass pawn, take, and then he has a passed 8 pawn, but now you're already on the 4th rank, so just winning. So h6, it's too much of middle game thinking, I think. Okay, he puts rook e7, and you end up with this horribly passive rook, which you have to avoid. But okay, since you don't, uh, even here maybe, even here I would prefer rook f3, much rather than becoming passive. You could have gotten this with a pawn on h5, but still here it's probably good. Another option is maybe b5 first and then rook f3. But anything, rook b8 is the last thing I would want to do here. Okay, he brings the king, you bring your king, b4, you bring the king, c4, king f6. Again, you have to push the pawns. This is where your extra pawn is. Create a passed pawn. How can you do that? Push this. Let's say h5. Okay, he brings the king. Uh, try to push the g pawn. Maybe here. Let's say pushing. Maybe even here. You can push g5, but maybe you want to bring your king. Try to get the king active. g5 or king here. Get it going. You did play king f6. Did we have something similar? a6. Uh, c5. Now I start pushing. Okay, it must be pushed at some point. Rook h7, g4. Okay, here you don't have much. I mean, he has pressure on this and this. The pawns are becoming too weak. This is why I wanted to have the king in front of the pawns, trying to attack the g pawn, trying to keep your pawns. But you get sort of, I mean, he lets you off the hook here. He lets you get the rook active. He takes on h5, and you get the pawn on g3. Okay, now he starts checking you, and you kind of have to go back here. Could we go the other way? I'm not sure. Probably this is the best option. And, you know, to stop the checks, you have to go to, yeah, b8 and a7. And here you took an a3. And here I thought king a7 was very interesting. The idea is you want to eventually activate your king. Just play a5 and king a6. Activate the king. And one idea here is king f4, rook g1. You want to push the pawn. If he takes it, I mean, he's too far away. You play a5. Your king is too fast here. You're gonna win. And a very important theme here, if which line did I have it here? So let's say, okay, he plays instead of this something like king d4. He wants to keep the status quo, but now you start pushing the g pawn. a5, important move. He takes g2. He could maybe try not to take, but eventually he gets sook swiped. But I just want to demonstrate a nice idea here. You put the pawn on g2, and then you play b6. And it's very important knowledge, you know, that with this you're gonna win. You can put the pawn here. Eventually you're just gonna push the pawn, and the king has to move. The idea of the king being here, just going back and forth, is that the rook can't move, this one can't move anywhere without you dropping the pawn. But if you have this c6 pawn, it's winning. Let's have a look. White tries to do nothing. You push the pawn. Okay, he can, let's stay with the rook here. You give a check. And either he, okay, if he takes, you give a check. If he goes here, you have this famous trick. You threaten the queen, and once he takes, you give a check. And you can't go to a2 because here and the mega queen. So very important concept to know. I think you should have, that's why I think you should have kept the g pawn as long as you could have. But after you took on a3, now maybe rook b3 looks more natural. But after this, it's quickly liquidating here. And you took on b4 and that draw here in the final position. So yeah, hopefully some points there that you can take away. You definitely should have won the game. Nice trick, queen d6 to win the pawn. But I think the main takeaway is in the rook endgames, never get passive like this with the rook. Always try to be active, push your pawns, and you know about ideas like, okay, you want to activate your king through a7, king activation important, and ideas with passed pawns like pushing it to g2. You have to know the themes and the patterns that you can execute to win such an endgame. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this was useful. See you in the next video. Bye bye.